Hold on.
Are you trying to work me?
No, the time is 7:03. We will call the May 23rd, 2022 regular Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Greer, would you please call the roll?
Cochran.
Here.
Alvin.
Here.
Goodfriend. Hoda.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Lunkins.
Here.
And Smith.
Yeah.
Thank you. The recitation of the district mission and vision, Trustee Smith, you have those where you can read them?
Yes.
On the agenda. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Our mission. Our inclusive learning community provides the best academic and social experiences by educating the whole child, one child at a time. Vision. Cultivating visionary leaders and compassionate citizens to be engaged in the global community.
Okay, approval of the agenda in order of business. The agenda has been provided to everyone. If there is no objection, we'll pass a motion to approve the agenda by unanimous consent. Is there any objection to passing the agenda by unanimous consent? Hearing none, the agenda is hereby passed. We will move to the consent agenda, and we have 3 items on that. Are there any changes to the consent agenda, or anything removed, or whatever? Seeing none, if there is no objection, we'll pass that by unanimous consent. Is there an objection to doing so?
Yeah, so let me understand. The consent agenda, which is A, B, and C, you're asking should we move those, right? Or no? You said
I'm at the
change.
point where I'm saying, yes, is there a need to take anything from off the consent agenda?
Yes, the C.
Let's see.
The
For
financial
discussion.
statements?
Yeah, you can move that to information items, please.
No, it would be action. So we would move that to 6C.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have an agenda?
Do we have an agenda up there?
I thought they were already up here, so I didn't give
No.
What's the matter?
agenda.
It's over there.
I just,
Is-
I thought I was speaking with the president.
Okay.
So she was taking with me when I came in. That was my way to get back at him. He's kidding.
It had nothing to do with you. You know, I like to
No,
start
I
at 7
had to
o'clock.
do too.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, where'd you move that?
So
to?
we would move that to 6C if you want to remove that from the
6C.
consent agenda. Yep. So that's what we're going to move that. Now we have the consent agenda includes the approval of minutes and approval of personnel actions. If without objection, we will pass that by unanimous consent. Any objection to doing so? Okay, the consent agenda is hereby passed with the approval of the minutes, approval of personnel actions, and we have moved approval of financial statements to item 6C. Now we'll move to reports. Dr. Hitchcock is our only report this evening. Dr. Hitchcock, the floor is yours.
Yes.
That's right.
President Elvin and board trustees, good evening. I want to first start by congratulating our students who were recognized at the Honors Convocation last Thursday. I'm hearing an echo, so I'm not sure. Honors Convocation last Thursday night in the Oak Park High School auditorium. We had a full house of parents, students, and family members. Kids received many, many cords, medals, pins, and certificates for their amazing accomplishments. We are very grateful for the support of Ms. Diablo Abbott and Mr. Conan, who worked tirelessly with the administrative team to coordinate this event. It was just a wonderful evening. Our seniors were honored with all of their hardware that they'll wear during the graduation ceremony, and our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students received many honors for being on the honor roll for their grade point averages, so congratulations. I also want to thank Ms. Gilmet for leading a wonderful dance concert, a spring dance concert last Friday evening. The students put on a beautiful performance, and If you haven't had an opportunity to see or did not have an opportunity to see the performance, we will share additional photos on our social media pages and website. And then we just had a great weekend. Our track and field girls, our Lady Knights track and field team, won their 8th consecutive MHSAA regional championship. We are so proud of all of their accomplishments and their ongoing record with their coach led by Brandon Giles. And we also have good news about Terrence Goodwin. Many of you may remember Terrence was working hard to, with his family members and friends and Oak Park community members, to raise funds for a wheelchair accessible van for transportation. This week, his family, friends, and members of the Oak Park community finished raising the $61,000 needed to buy the van. A very special thanks to the Einstein Elementary School community for raising $1,800 to donate toward this cause. Congratulations, Terrence. We already saw photos of Terrence going to visit his grandparents, and he hasn't been able to do that for a very long time. He'll be able to drive to or have a ride to prom and to college and various doctor's appointments. So congratulations to Terrence, his family, and the entire Oak Park High School community and Oak Park community for their support. At our last board meeting, we gave an update about safety and security at the high school. We are very pleased to share that for the last 2 weeks and a day, we've had a very peaceful school environment. We appreciate the hard work of our students, staff, and parents. Unfortunately, we only have one eye care volunteer, and that is Trustee Al Smith, who is deeply committed and dedicated and comes every day to support our security and admin personnel at the high school. So thank you, Mr. Smith. I am also very excited to announce the save the date for Thursday, June 2nd at Oak Park High School from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will host a career fair during all lunches. We have about 15 guests who have already committed, but if any of our board trustees or community members are interested, please do not hesitate to reach out to my executive assistant, Andrea Philpotts, and or me, and let me know if you would be interested in standing at a table and sharing some of your background information and all the preparation that led to your career path with our high school students. I also want to congratulate and recognize our very own Jim Nye, our Senior Technology Coordinator, for meeting the requirements for certification under the Michigan School Business Officials, MSBO, Voluntary Certification Program, and earning the Chief Technology Officer certification. Please join us in celebrating Jim for his high degree of academic and professional preparation. Thank you, Jim, for your dedication to lifelong learning. He's bashful. You know Jim's a behind-the-scenes kind of guy, but we'll get him out here to embarrass him soon. Finally, at our next board meeting on Monday, June 13th, we will invite all of our retirees and their principals or a close colleague to share a few words to celebrate their dedication and commitment to the Oak Park School District. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Hitchcock, any questions of Dr. Hitchcock on her report? Okay, hearing none, we have come to a time where we are at public comment, and I'll just note that public comment is one-way communication in which members of the public can communicate to the board with the understanding that board members cannot respond. Trustee Smith, if you would please provide the public comment guidelines.
Yes, because the Oak Park Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome public comment on school issues. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due process for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. The public comment portion of the meeting cannot be used to make personal attacks against a school board member or a school district employee that disrupts the order of the meeting and is totally unrelated to the manner in which the member or employee performs his or her duties. Speakers should be aware that if statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, such comments may result in legal liability. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on the topic or issue and not be directed at specific personnel or board members.
Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board? We have no cards?
No
Okay.
cards.
I'll say it 2 more times for posterity. Any members of the public who wish to address the board? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, all right, there are none. We will move on to action items. 6A, approval of Oakland Schools 2022-23 budget. Trustee Hoyter, can you read the motion, please?
Yes, 1 moment.
Sorry, I caught you up, go ahead.
Resolved that the Oak Park Board of Education has received and reviewed the proposed intermediate school district general fund budget in accordance with section 624 of the revised school code as amended, and by the adoption of this resolution expresses its support for the proposed intermediate school district general fund budget.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Hoyter, seconded by Klein. Are there any questions or any unreadiness on this motion? And we
A short comment.
talked about this at the last regular board meeting, so trustee Klein?
Yeah, in addition to what you just mentioned, I'll just remind that Dan Phelps and I have reviewed that and have spoken about it. It's been recommended also by our CFO.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the members of the board? Other members of the board? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Klein,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
Calvin,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
and Corcoran.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We're going to item 6B, Oakland Schools Board of Education biennial election 2022. We need to designate a representative and alternate representative to serve on the 2022 electoral body responsible for elected members of the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education. Our representative must cast a ballot in person at the election scheduled to take place between 5:30 and 7:30, Monday, June 6th, 2022, in the Oakland Schools Conference Center located at 2111 Pontiac Lake Road in Waterford. In addition, the board will need to determine which candidates it supports for 2 positions on the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education for 6-year terms ending June 30th, 2028. There are at least 5 candidates running for the Intermediate School Board as follows: Bob DeMarco, Charlie Gandy Thompson, Steve Gottlieb, Brandon Colascio, hold on, I said that right, and Connie Williams. Would anyone like to serve as our representative to cast the vote? Anyone?
I am not available that day.
It's a Jewish holiday.
Got it.
Two of us are out.
Trustee Smith is jumping in the fray. He's going to take care of it.
That's Monday, June 6th.
Yes, sir.
Monday, June 6th.
Monday, June 6th, and your time between 5:30 and 7:30.
5:30, 7:30.
Yeah. We need a alternate representative, I guess. Is anyone else available? I guess it'll have to be me, but please,
I'll be there.
All right.
Hey, I'm Johnny on the spot.
Okay, thank you, because I don't think I can make it, but I'm
I'll be
gonna.
there.
All right. Now, does anyone have a suggestion for whom we should support? Trustee Hoyt.
I had an opportunity to watch the candidate forum that was hosted by Oakland County School Board Association with all the candidates, and also to review the written materials that were provided to us by 3 of the candidates, and I would recommend that the board supports Steve Gottlieb and Connie Williams.
Is there a second?
Support.
Do we have a resolution?
There is, but I'm trying to fill this out now so we can say this right.
So the resolution would be that the board designates trustee Albert Smith III as its representative and President Albert Alvin as its alternate representative to serve on the 2022 electoral body responsible for electing members to the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education. The board supports candidate Steve Gottlieb and candidate Connie Williams for the two positions on the Oakland Schools Intermediate School District Board of Education for a term of 6 years ending June 30, 2028. The board directs its representative, trustee Albert Smith III, to vote for candidate Connie Williams and Steve Gottlieb at least on the first ballot taken at the June 6, 2022 election.
Support.
Okay, there was a motion made by Hoyda, seconded by Klein, and this is really a resolution, so if there is and he just read it, are there any questions on this? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
and Elvin,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Okay, we are now at item 6C, which is approval of financial statements. Trustee Corcoran, you asked that this be removed from the consent agenda. If you'd like to state whatever the issue is or not.
No, it wasn't an issue. The reason why I asked to move that is because I was wondering, in, the spirit of transparency, could the board receive a copy of the beginning and ending contracts? Because we're coming close to the end of the year, and the board haven't received any contracts, meaning we haven't had the contracts of the ones that are beginning and ending. Usually we get that, like, I think is close to the end of the year, but we haven't received it.
Which contracts?
The contracts of the ones that are not teacher contracts, but administration and other contracts, for high, non-union contracts. Is that better?
Those don't come until the end of June, because our fiscal year ends June 30th, and then they start July 1. But we did share those appropriately last year. So you did receive them.
So the renewal, okay, so.
The renewals happened last June, because our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th.
Right.
Yeah. So you'll see those in June for the 22-23. You've already seen we've already rolled the 21-22 last June.
There's a contract that I haven't seen, and I can't, I mean, if you wish after the meeting, perhaps maybe I could tell you, but it's one I haven't seen, and I was looking for it, so that was why I asked.
Can you email it to me and I'll?
I sure will.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on approval of financial statements for April 2022? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the financial statements for April 2022?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Smith.
Second.
Thank you. You have that? Ms. Greer?
Yeah.
Okay, second by Lunkins, okay. Would you please call the roll?
Corcoran,
No.
Elvin,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
and Smith.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We're moving to information items. Item 7A, communities in school. And Ms. Baptiste, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, will speak to this.
Yes, so Communities in Schools is a really powerful organization. They started out in the 1970s in New York City and have since made their way across the nation. And what they do is they support school districts with bringing resources from outside of the community into schools. And one of the areas of concern for us being within Oakland County, but having so many of our students coming in from other tri-county areas, particularly Wayne County, is that there's resources and supports that we want to support our students with. There are things that are located in Wayne County that we can't get to because they may reside in Wayne County but go to school in Oakland County. So if we wanted to set up vision services, and this was like a free service that's being offered to all students in Wayne County, Communities in Schools has community-based organization connections to help us with gaining access to those types of resources and helping students with wraparound services. There is a financial cost, it's waived if they have their own grant funding, so we as a district are not having to pay for these services, but it does require board approval to participate with them. And in speaking with them about the needs of Oak Park, they were able to secure additional funding if we are able to move forward with them for our grades 6 through 12, all of our school programs. Originally they said OPA and OPHS, but they've extended that opportunity to NOVA as well. So I'm putting it here as an information item. Their fiscal year ends by June 30th. They have secured additional grant funds to support our district with a variety of supports for homeless students, students who are in foster care, and just a number of supports that many of our students need, healthcare services, mental health services. And it doesn't matter if they reside in either Macomb County, Wayne County, or Oakland County. So an opportunity to help to just decrease barriers. So that's Communities in Schools, so that's an information item I'm presenting to the board in the hopes that you do approve it at maybe even the next board meeting in time for their close of their fiscal year, if they take our district on.
Trustee Hoyter and then Trustee Smith.
I haven't, it's a nonprofit organization, I can pull it up, I sent it via, would you guys like for me to just show, like, it's a board report that they share also, it's also online, but what it is a nonprofit organization that supports school districts with getting resources from outside of the community into the community. So mental health supports, vision screening, dental care, tutoring. They find community-based organizations around the area and support, they do a needs assessment of the school district, which is why it requires board approval, because they're gonna be looking at data, the needs of our districts, and then align the needs that we have with the resources that they have to get that over to us, so.
Okay, Trustee Hoyter.
So thank you, Ms. Baptiste, for your work in looking into this and arranging it. What would be the terms of the length of the arrangement? Are we talking about for the next school year, for this summer school? What is the?
They have secured funding for the next upcoming school year, so it's 1 year, and it would be, I don't wanna say it's a pilot. I do know that they work with Detroit Public Schools, Pontiac Public Schools, and also Ferndale, and they have long-standing relationships with those districts. They secured funding for 1 year, the upcoming school year.
Is it okay if I ask another question?
Go for it.
And would the team that would be supporting us be, would this be a new team? Would it be a team that's already working in one of those districts, Ferndale, Detroit, Pontiac?
It would be a team that's within the local area that's also familiar with the community-based organizations, and the ultimate goal, I know within the Office of Teaching and Learning, is to create an asset map, just to find like what are the community, it's been a real struggle, so like what are the community-based organizations that can support us and don't have bounds as to where they can support. So we are hoping to align with somebody, and that was a request, somebody that's familiar not only with the Oak Park Schools district, but the surrounding community and our demographic of students, preferably if they already support, if their case manager has had experience with supporting Detroit Public Schools or even Pontiac Public Schools. And one of the red flags for me was that in supporting students who are homeless and under McKinney-Vento and just trying to get supports for transportation, many of our students who reside in homeless shelters, they're located in Pontiac. And so what if we could get access, you know, they go to school here, but they're, you know, in Pontiac, what if we can get access to some of the connections within the shelters that they reside in, like the people who do that case management work, to be discreet, to be supportive, was a request.
And have we spoken with Detroit, Pontiac, Ferndale to find out about their experience with these teams?
I've spoken with Pontiac schools. One connection for Detroit Public Schools has not gotten back to me, but I have spoken with Pontiac schools and who oversees their MTSS programming as to how that works within their district.
Okay, Trustee Smith.
Yeah. I was looking through it prior, and I was kind of had some familiarity, and I actually want to make a motion to move forward, with this and, with our decision. Why wait till later if there's no need now, and if there's a timeline that, we're looking, I'd like to put the motion on the floor to move forward with that, Ms. Baptiste is gonna bring us value-added initiatives anyways to help our district, so why wait till later?
Are you officially making?
I like to,
Make a motion?
yeah, I'm making a motion.
Okay, a motion has been made by Smith for us to move forward with communities in school,
And I'll
It-
support it.
and seconded by Lunkins. Is there any unreadiness on the motion, any question, trustee Hoyt?
So I'm hesitant to move ahead at this time, for two reasons. One is that my understanding is this is something that needs to be approved by the end of June for their fiscal year. So I don't necessarily see what the urgency is at this time, and I would like to have some time to understand more about the team. I think the model is an excellent model. How that's implemented, I want to learn more about that, and which team is it that's going to be implementing that here? What's their record? How can we, and so I would like to understand more about that before I'm ready to support moving forward with this.
Is that something you plan to share with us?
I definitely would share more information about that. I know that they're at the end of their year and they have the opportunity to partner with Oak Park Schools, and we're one of the districts that is not partnered with them previously. So, but is it that you need more information about implementation and about who the people are who will be?
Yeah, so I think it's two pieces, right? So one is where the motion that's on the floor is to, instead of having this be a information item this time and move for action at our next meeting as we normally would do, it would be to move forward with it right away, which we sometimes do as a board when there's an urgency. From what I'm understanding, there's not an urgency for this to be, in other words, passing this today versus 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now is not going to change when this comes to our district. So if we have, without that urgency being present, I would like to have some more time to learn more about the implementation.
Okay. I think that it might, but
I'm sorry, so
But-
what am I missing here?
I think that it might, just out of they're securing what they're going to be doing for the upcoming year and who they're going to be doing that with. But I put this as an information item and also inform them that the way that we operate as a board is also, it's an information item, and at the next meeting, it's something that's voted on. So what I'd like to understand is what information should I be providing to the board in addition to the information that I've provided already? What other pieces of information are needed to better?
So for me, it would be understanding more about, right, so we understand the model, and the model is an excellent model, and as you pointed out, has a strong record in a number of other districts around the country. I want to understand more about the actual team that will be implementing it here, and what other people's experiences with those teams have been in implementing the model in other school districts. How close has it been to the intent?
Would we be able to receive that information in time for the next meeting? Which is the team that would be working here? Will we?
That I'm not certain if we'll know the team that we'll be working with, but I do know that they are not far from this particular region. Although they're a nationwide organization, they would be their team that's based closest to Detroit. But what I can do is reach out to them, get more information about whoever is currently working with districts like along 9 Mile, and also Pontiac schools, and get comments, because I'm sure that they have that type of information and impact. They have, one of the things that I had shared was the impact that they had specifically in the state of Michigan and data around that. So I'll share that with you guys again and really target very specifically, like, this is the program report for the state of Michigan. If you go to page, this right here is where you'll get more information, more detailed information. And I really appreciate that action to, you know, move on it, but I also put it on the agenda knowing that our format is, we have it as an agenda item, information item, and then
I mean, we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, so I put it on the motion on the floor because the fact that it's a value add, I don't see, it's a win-win. I don't see where we can lose on this, you know, and I want to try to get this in regards, I want to get this in place immediately so that our students and, you know, our community can benefit from this as soon as possible. So, I mean, you know, we're looking at logistics on this. I don't think that Ms. Baptiste would bring anything to us that was, you know, anything that would do us any harm in bringing us. I mean, we empower and we trust her to find value-added opportunities and initiatives for our district. So that was the reason why I expedited the motion. I saw she was passionate about it, and I like what I hear, and I found it was a win-win.
Okay, trustee Corcoran.
Yeah, I agree, but the only reason why I wanted to speak in behalf of waiting as well is because of the roles and the obligation, as Mr. Holder, Trustee Holder was speaking about, because I did look up and I did do a little research myself based on, you know, where there are strong states that they are there, because they do have over I think it's 1.6 million students in this this organization. But there are just, you know, what goes in other places may not work for us, but not to say that it's not a good idea. But I just, you know, want to also find out the roles and the obligations of the committee.
You know, in the spirit of teamwork, I'll rescind my motion.
You don't have to.
I want to work with this board. I want us to be on the same page. We're going to work together, and I'm all for it. So I'll rescind my motion, and let us do the research, and we'll take it at the next board meeting.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
I just
right.
wanted to
Teamwork,
reach out.
teamwork.
Motion has been withdrawn. Okay, anything more on communities and school?
no.
Okay, we will go to summer school transportation, and you still have the floor.
Yeah, now this is something that is time sensitive. So we were able to secure $30,000 for transportation services through Title I funding. Last summer, we were able to offer transportation services to students who reside in the city of Detroit. And it definitely added to the success of our summer programming and just decreasing barriers for our students. The resolution that passed last year was for 1 year only. It was the last academic year. So now we're in this academic year, we have the funding to do it, and it will also help with the enrollment of our summer programming. So that's an information item that is quite pressing, so I'm just gonna lay that there. It would really help with our first student staff members to be able to really go full throttle in their staffing. And my intent was to have this at the May 9th board meeting, and I learned that it wasn't, what was it, last year, I thought that the way that it had been voted on was forevermore, but I wanted to just make sure to double check, and the language stated for 1 year only, so I just put a halt to transportation services and supports around that to make sure, let me follow procedure. So, information. Summer school transportation, offering it to students who reside in the city of Detroit. We have the funding to do it, we have grant funds to do it. If we don't use those funds, we will lose those funds.
Okay. You have more?
I want to move a
For
motion.
transportation.
Okay, so I figured as much was coming, so trustee Hoyt.
So I'd like to move a motion that the Oak Park Board of Education approves summer school transportation for out-of-district students for summer school.
It's
Support.
Detroit students though, right? Not,
It's
Is anybody who we offer, so the Detroit line that we offer, there's a bus line that leaves Oakland County and goes into Wayne County, being able to support that line over the summer.
If we provide transportation, to resident students, we have an obligation to provide transportation to students enrolled in our schools of choice program.
that are, but then, I guess my question was, the motion said Detroit students, I wanna make sure it was
The motion says
So
non-resident.
school of choice.
non-resident,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but you
non-resident
said,
school of choice
okay.
students.
I'm sorry, all
All
non-resident.
students,
All, yeah.
That's what I, she said Detroit.
all
so
students
maybe someone said
traditionally
Detroit. I wanna make sure
eligible.
we had it
So,
right.
so to clarify, the resolution would be to approve summer school transportation for non-resident schools of choice students.
Support.
For summer.
or just all eligible students.
We currently have summer transportation for Oak Park resident students. We have that in place. So what this would be is for our they don't live within Oak Park proper, they're non-resident, they're school of choice students, and to offer transportation.
So this is transportation for all students. Yeah. So all students eligible for transportation per our board policy.
That's, the motion is for non-resident students, but yes, I mean, this would, because we're able to do this for non-resident, that means now everyone will have transportation.
Not
Okay.
everyone will have transportation, it's, are you eligible for transportation?
Everyone who's eligible.
board policy.
Like,
Let me use the right language, I don't
Yeah,
want
and
to get
it's the same resolution from last, it's the same language from last, it's just, it would be great if it was just for summer school, so we're not going through this each year, and, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is for this year,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
next year, we gotta do this again.
Absolutely.
If you choose, yes, if you choose to go that
If it
route.
go, I mean, if the funding is there and all of that stuff, we would
Right.
have to do it again, right?
Right.
Thank you. Okay. Motion has been made by Hoyt, is there a second?
Support.
I second it.
Trustee Smith was quicker on the gun for that one. Supported by Trustee Smith. Any unreadiness or any questions on the motion? Okay, hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Klein,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
Alvin,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
and Cochran.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We will go now to curriculum adoption, item 7C, curriculum adoption process and recommendation. And Ms. Baptiste, you back on.
I'm back on for,
again.
I also have well, I'll just keep it as a summer school update. I'll come back to summer school. Okay, so curriculum recommendations for 2022-2023. Okay, so our ELA, K-5 ELA curriculum is going to expire this year. That's happening. We knew that already. We knew that we had to create a curriculum review process last year. We created that process when we adopted iReady. We used that same process this year. What that looked like was our MTSS team, so our multi-tiered systems of supports teams, our instructional coaches, our Title I teachers, our building leaders, members of central office, so all of teaching and learning, came together and reviewed more than 5 curricular resources, selected 5, and then really went through what works clearinghouse, if we know that it exists in other districts, vetting, looking at data points for how the curriculum fared after 5 years, 3 years of use in other districts, and then from there, voted down from 5 curricular resources to 3 curricular resources. Once we landed on 3 curricular resources, we brought all those curriculum companies into the district in order to offer a review of their products and have teams of teachers from across the district review, have discussions, look over the materials. We had them deliver materials to our schools so that teachers could actually see, teachers that participated in this could actually see the resources, ask questions directly of the curriculum companies and publishers that create these resources. So we did that for our K-5 ELA because that's coming to a close. Not only is the K-5 ELA curriculum sunsetting, but the publisher is not going to, Journey's curriculum, which is what we currently use, they're not republishing Journey's anymore. So we would not be able to go ahead and renew with Journey's again. Journey's, I think after next year, will no longer be in existence. So we knew that no matter what, we would need a new curricular resource. So for K-5, the selection was a product called MyView, and the resource comes with leveled libraries for every single classroom across K-5. We also juxtaposed all this information with our current data, the needs of our students, and how we want to move our students forward with literacy, reading, and writing. So the selection process landed on my view being the recommendation. For grades 6 through 8, their curricular resource is going to be expiring this year. Actually, last year, they had the opportunity to pilot. They wanted a new curricular resource. It had already expired. They wanted the opportunity to pilot, and they missed that opportunity because they did not follow procedure. So this year, they had the opportunity to go through the curricular review process, look at other resources, like I said, 5, bring it down to 3, have 3 companies come, offer a presentation, and then, as a staff, vote. They landed on a curricular resource called Elevate Science. So that's the recommendation that they've made, that they would like to pilot this for 1 year. And then 9 through 12 ELA, we don't have cohesive curriculum that has been vetted through What Works Clearinghouse and other curricular vetted programs. So this is an opportunity for us within grades 9 through 12 to adopt ELA curriculum for grades 9 through 12. And so the content area leads, along with our MTSS teams and administration, went through, again, that same process, 5 curricular resources, everybody roll up your sleeves, review, research, and then choose 3 resources, have them come, offer presentations, ask questions, open up the kits, look through, what you think will work best for our students, and they would like to adopt my perspective as a curricular resource for the upcoming year. How this works is these resources would be adopted within the budget for this upcoming year, and the products that have been selected are all selected for pilot. So, which would mean that not just the teachers that reviewed these resources would have access to them, but all of the teachers would be able, if this is selected for K-5, all the K-5 teachers are using this. If this is selected for 6-8, all the 6-8 are using this for science. And going under cycles of inquiry, and if they mid-year feel like there needs to be a shift or a change, for us to know, we gotta go back to the drawing board and make a curriculum selection process that's not for pilot, that is, what we really need for our kiddos. So, I'm putting that out there as an information item, the 3 curricular resources that were selected for recommendation to the board. K-5 ELA was my view, 6-8 Science was Elevate Science, and 9-12 ELA was my perspectives.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Baptiste?
So you can,
Trustee Marcus, go ahead.
so they're not gonna have iReady?
Oh, they'll still have
They'll
iReady.
still have iReady
Yes.
where the kids can go on and get whatever information they need to get on as far as, there's another one that I noticed that my granddaughter is using. I can't think of the name of it. If it comes to me, I'll ask you about it. But I know the iReady is one that she swears by. And I know that she can go on iReady and get whatever information that she needs to get for that class.
That was a big, push for the resources that we selected. The user friendliness, the student accessibility. Sometimes we've had to pivot from being online to being in person, so making sure that the resource can do both. And we used iReady scores. We also looked at NWA scores from last year and historical data for our students, which we don't have from iReady because we just adopted it. But which curricular resources would allow teachers to best see where students are and how to best support them with the personalized learning platform that iReady offers.
From what I can understand from her and some of her friends, they're all into this iReady. And I really didn't get into it until she started getting into it, and we kept trying to figure out why she kept telling us she didn't have no homework. Until we started going to iReady ourselves and find out she had homework.
Yeah, aside from there.
So, I would like to see that stay. I mean, if anything comes down where they're talking about getting rid of it, I want to know ahead of time. Me and I'm quite sure these other parents that I've been talking to and working with their students, with my granddaughter, would like the same thing. Even my grandson, and he's in 3rd grade. Already. It has to be.
Trustee Hoyt.
I just want to say thank you to our curriculum team, Ms. Baptiste, Ms. Morrison, and the teachers and everybody who's been involved in this process. It really, reviewing how this was done really speaks to the commitment to really carefully considering curriculum that will meet our needs. So I really appreciate the work that you provided on that.
Okay, anything else from Ms. Baptiste?
Yes, I also want to say thank you. One of our teachers sitting right back there, probably is not going to appreciate all that type of attention on her, but who was a part of like a lot of these processes as well as a great area lead. And, you know, and the entire MTSS team, all the instructional coaches and folks that you don't get to see at the board meetings, you know, like as they're rolling up their sleeves and engaging in the work, it's a lot of fun. And so now we kind of want to see the results and see like the traction. So thank you to everybody that was a part of this process. Summer school update, and then I'll get off the floor. The summer school update, it's important that I communicate this to you and then also communicate to our families that Summer Bridge, we have not had many students apply for Summer Bridge, nor the staffing, and that's the program where we have 8th graders graduating going into 9th grade. Last year we had about 25 to 30 students who participated. This year I haven't had many students apply. And then on top of that, I haven't had any teachers. As you see on the personnel action, I have quite a few teachers. I'm almost done with staffing for summer school. I only need to staff 5 more at the elementary level, and I know that's going to happen. So between external, you know, and even internal candidates, that might apply a little bit later. But for Summer Bridge, I didn't get any applications for teachers to teach Summer Bridge. So I'm going to be canceling Summer Bridge for the summer. So I'm communicating that to you all, and then I'm going to also put it in writing to our families as well so that they know that we're not going to offer this as a program. And then credit recovery, wait, I'll stop there. I don't know if there's any questions or anything.
There is a question.
Yeah.
So, do we know why there was a drop in interest for these applicants, the teacher applicants, you know, to teach, and also, if I'm correct, it's twofold in regards to the participating students. Is that correct?
So for the participating students, I had less than 5 students apply, but then at the middle school level for 6-8, I have students that have applied for that, families that have applied for that interest in that program. So one theory I have is burnout.
Okay.
That's one theory I have, even for our students, is burnout. That just after leaving for, and also just the year and what the year has been, that's real. The other, at least on the teacher side, is some of the teachers that did Summer Bridge, they loved it. They expressed that they loved it. They also saw a lot of the things that were happening with oil that did also happen. I didn't promote it as much, but did also happen 6-8 at the middle school. A lot of creative projects and things of that nature, and they would like the opportunity to support 8th grade students, 7th grade students a lot more with targeted supports. So those teachers that did Summer Bridge applied to do 6-8 and also would like the opportunity to work with some of the students that they had during the school year. So my plan was, if you apply for Summer Bridge as an 8th grader, I'll keep 8th grade summer school within the middle school. So if you applied, you'll still have the opportunity to attend summer programming. And in the past, we had Summer Bridge for about 2 to 3 weeks. This program would be 6 weeks, 5 weeks for the students. So they'll still, for those who applied, they're not going to be left out of not having a summer opportunity. It just won't be Summer Bridge.
Trustee Carl, go ahead.
So the Summer Bridge program is an add-on? Correct, okay.
It is.
And that Summer Bridge is added on for, you said, how many weeks? 2?
So we've never had it longer than 2 to 3 weeks. Last summer when we had it, it was 3 weeks. So years prior, it was for 3 weeks, just before school started.
So the students have to be a grade level or no grade?
They have, you mean like performing academically at grade level?
Yes.
No, there's no requirement for them. It's really about them getting acclimated to making that transition from 8th grade to 9th grade.
Okay, okay.
Good.
So when they graduate,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, yeah, just one more clarification. So I'm trying to picture myself in 8th grade, so I'm gonna have this program to help me transition from the 8th grade to the 9th grade.
Because in the 9th grade, you would no longer be a middle school student. But like in a couple of weeks, you'll be a 9th grader.
Right.
you.
Trustee.
Jack, you mentioned something about the 6th and 7th graders program for the summer. Would that be 6th graders going to 7th grader, or it doesn't make a difference?
So we're gonna have, all of summer school this summer is happening at OPA. So it'll be
Okay.
5th graders going to 6th grade, 6th graders going to 7th, 7th graders going to 8th. And if you're in the 8th, I'll keep it where you still have 8th grade programming, for the summer.
That's all 8th grade, right? Or is every 8th grader eligible?
Yes.
Question relative to summer school. Do we offer classes for like advancement? So those who are juniors and have some things they need to take as seniors, do we offer like a couple of classes that way where they can take them over the summer and not have to take them in the fall or the
That would be closest to credit recovery, and a lot of the ways that credit recovery could be marketed is that, oh, you missed your class, so, you failed a class, but you could also sign up for credit recovery. It shouldn't be called recovery because you don't have anything to recover from, if that is something that you wanted to do. I'm gonna say though, that that's not programming that's structured at this time. I'm not gonna say that it's something that we have, but it is something we could do.
I mean, I don't know one way or the other, but I mean, you probably, not probably, you definitely know more than me when it comes to this stuff, but I know that was an opportunity I took advantage of when I was in high school. So, I would think that might be an option for our students, and that might be a good point to get them in summer and to get them to, if it's for me, it was government and econ that I took in summer. I don't know what, those were two different classes, but I took them both in summer. I didn't have to take them in my senior year. I don't know what we do here, but it would be nice if we could think about doing that.
I was going to say, government and econ has been very fruitful for you as you are an elected official. I was going to contribute to that, though. I think some of what may drive our offerings is that we utilize title funding for our summer school program.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if title funding allows for advancement or just remediation.
All right.
So we would have to maybe charge parents tuition for courses over the summer.
It's revenue generating.
But it would be revenue generating if we had enough students to run the course based on what we would have to pay teachers to teach the course. But it's definitely something that we should investigate
I
further.
vaguely recall me having to pay something too in high
Okay.
school, so you might be right.
Okay.
But would be a great option if the need and the desire was there.
Absolutely, I don't disagree.
Trustee Smith.
Yeah, I'll give a scenario in regards to, students who would want to take these courses to advance. So during our school year, there was a deficit in teachers. Say, for example, our math teachers, I spoke to Ms. Digley on this earlier, and just about additional or new math teachers because of the fact that we had a void. And say, for example, our 11th grade AP. Right. So they were given a course, a particular course that they had to take, and may have missed some of the traditional one-on-one teaching for that advanced class. Would this be, or any of the programs that we've mentioned, because the fact that we had certain funding in place, would they be able to maybe utilize that?
I see where you're going with that.
You see where I'm going?
I don't think I'd be able to put a program like that in place now,
Okay.
but I do think that programming like that could take place in the future.
Okay.
I do think that, and I also think that like Saturday school, Saturday programmings, rather than it being geared towards credit recovery, what if it was STEM oriented, math oriented, the arts, but not during the regular like extended school time would be
Okay.
when that can
Okay.
happen. And I see where you're going with
see where
that,
I'm
like in
going,
terms of
yeah.
how to fund it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Corcoran.
When I was asking about the 8th grade, it popped in my head, are we encouraging 8th graders, that were not on the level, such as 7th and 6th, or, you know, you may be in the 7th grade, or you may be in the 8th, but not 8th grade credits, are we encouraging them that are not at that grade level to attend as well?
So it's promoted to all of the students,
Okay.
regardless of what their academic level is. And then the way we're structuring our classes is also, like, we're gonna have iReady even over the summer and a diagnostic to figure out, like, even though we're having our spring diagnostic is wrapping up now, a summer diagnostic just to see where do you place in real time. And if you're closer to grade level, then even the class that you'll be rostered to, we know that that's a little bit more accelerated and more information and things like at a faster pace. We know that then the other classes, we would try to structure it so you know you need additional supports and you need, you know, additional resources and more time.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to, item 7.
I'm so sorry, I have one more thing.
Go,
I'm
go for
so
it,
sorry.
go for it. What did I miss?
Because I have to announce it, I have to say it to you, and then I have to make sure to say it to the public. So, it is, well, this is the public, but, in writing. But credit recovery, we will be moving credit recovery online. So that's another thing that's due to staffing, 1. 2, with wiring going on for security cameras at the high school and the work that's taking place within the D-Wing and HVAC, we are able to move the program for credit recovery online. We have the staffing to be able to do that can withstand the amount of students that would be applying for credit recovery. So I wanted to make that as an announcement because I have to communicate that to our families as well, so that their kids aren't like, I'm going to school, Ma. And it's like, no. You're not going physically into a building for credit recovery.
I'm just curious about that then. We talked a lot about learning loss during COVID and the use of online that technology at that point. Do we have any concerns relative to what this is going to look like for credit recovery for students looking to, get back to where they should be? Do you have any concerns about that?
I do have concerns about that. The beauty of the credit recovery programming is that we use an online platform in order to get the students access to the classes that they need. And over the course of the year, when they've done credit recovery, it has been primarily online. With the exception of when we have credit recovery at Nova, where students are physically within the school building, so there are office hours that the students attend, and they're very familiar, unless if this is their first time taking, like, a 9th grader that might have failed bio or something like that, and this is their first time having to take, a course online, but the teachers would still be available to them with office hours and be online as well. So it's not like they don't have opportunities for synchronous direct instruction, and last summer, we realized that with our student attendance, we had more of our students attending online consistently. So that's the saving grace, at least for me, like thinking exactly what you're thinking of, like what will this do to the students, in consideration of the learning loss that they've experienced.
All right. Do you have anything else?
That's it. That's it. I'm done.
All
Thank
right.
you.
7D, Summer 2020 Tax Levy. Dan Phillips, you're up.
All right. We give Cassandra a break. So, I just wanted to address the summer tax levy. Apparently, this is every year we have to go through. We get all the tax information from the Oakland schools. That provides us with the Royal Oak, Southfield, and Oak Park school tax information. From there, we process an L4029 form, which I've also should be provided as well. What happens with that is that gets signed off on by the board. The board signs it, we send it out to the municipalities, and then they're able to take that to the people for taxation. So what this does today is this gives you the information pertaining to the taxes. Basically in 2021 we had $412,905 of taxable property versus this year, which is $466,657,933. It's an increase of 13.07% in property values over the last year. So what that equates to is it gives us a new rate that we're able to apply to the tax base for our income. And so what happens with that is we provide that to you, the information, we make you aware of it this week, and then the next board meeting, you vote whether or not to approve that tax levy. And that being said, that is really all I have for this one.
Thank you, Trustee Hoyt.
So I just want to clarify a couple things. So the information about property values comes from Oakland County, the city of Oak Park, the village of Royal Oak, the township of Royal Oak,
Yes.
and the city of Southfield.
That's correct.
It's not the schools. And then and homeowners can expect a lower tax rate on their taxes. So their tax will be going down by 0.1224 mils, which, depending on the value of their property, may not necessarily mean a reduction in their tax bill, but it will be a reduction in their tax rate.
That's correct. The rate, not the bill.
Trustee Smith.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, this is just for information. Do the increase, this actual increase that we're seeing here, do we feel that that's also based on the expanded property that has been added to the district? I know for Oak Park, I can't speak for the other the additional, and there was a reason why I was just asking. Can that also be a basis for the increased value?
Yes, well, it's the property values themselves are going up. If you're referencing like Northland right now, we won't realize anything on that for probably a few years.
Okay.
You know, once they start renovating or constructing on that
Right.
site and it's usable, then we can start realizing some income from that.
And I asked that because the fact that there was additional housing that's been added through Oak Park, and then
That would all be factored in.
also
yes.
factored in. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Anything else for Mr. Phillips on the summer 2022 tax levy? Hearing none, we will go to item 7E, food service renewal, and again, Mr. Phillips is up for that.
All right. We have, as our food service company, Chartwell's, we've had them for, I guess it's been about 15 years or so. It's been quite a while. Every 5 years, they go out to bid. I think we're in the fourth year of this cycle. So we go through, every year we have to have the board approve the next year's contract. So it's a 5-year contract, but it's renewable each year. And so what we're doing here is we're going to the board to, the MDE has to approve it first. We send them information that the food service sends to the MDE through me. And then there's forms that they sign that they're saying they're gonna live up to the obligations, they're gonna follow the MDE rules, et cetera. And that's signed off by both them and me. And then the board is the final sign off. And what we do here is we say that we have you review the information, which is really limited at this point. I gave it on to Pat and she moved it on to you. But really, it's just a recommendation to use Chartwell's for one more year, and then in 2022-23, towards the end of the year, we'll bid that service out for another 5-year stint.
Okay, any questions on that? None, okay. We go to item 7F, remaining Promethean boards, Jim Nye. I'm sorry?
7G.
G, what am I missing?
F.
Well,
I got G.
I had it as F, so.
I got F.
Who's F?
I got F.
What's it? That's right, Jim Nye.
I have a-
Si-
They just, y'all.
I don't know what changed. 7G then, remaining Promethean boards.
That is me. Hi, everybody. So I've got a one-pager here for you as far as the PowerPoint is concerned.
Congratulations, Jim.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for coming out.
We can congratulate you then.
Yeah, I was working on some wiring, and when I heard it, I couldn't really get out here quick enough.
We know you don't want to,
Was it because it was the
we know you don't want to take
modification?
compliment.
No, when you see it on
Good
YouTube,
job.
you'll hear it. You won't hear yourselves for the beginning. That was it. Okay, long story short, we are looking to get 36 Promethean boards, which will not completely fill the entire district up. It won't include much of Nova because that building is not occupied. It will include the majority of the rest of the buildings, though. Over the years, as we built up the buildings, we would do Prometheans a group at a time and a grant at a time. So 6th grade at OPA was our first group that got them, and then we did like 7th grade, 8th grade. We did 3rd grade, 4th grade, and kind of did them that way. With that, it was only when the buildings actually had classes in them. So if you were a 3rd grade class, you would have gotten them. And when we went down for COVID and restarted, and we were trying to move kids around and better use spaces, there were rooms that didn't have Promethean boards because at the time there wasn't funding. So right now we want to use a combination of bond funds and ESSER funds, and then basically get refill the district. So the high school would be getting 6 of them, OPA would be getting 10 of them, Nova would be getting 3, Pepper would be getting 3, Einstein would be getting 7, and then Key would be getting 7. With that, I sent a board communication out last week that had 33 on them, and I changed it to 36 today only because we realized we didn't have the media centers included for the elementary. So that's going to be the difference if you see both board requests. That's the modification, that's the change. The total for the boards, 36 of them and install, is $159,132, and we're throwing a $5,000 contingency on there just in case. I don't expect to use it. But sometimes when you pull the boards down, you run into issues in the classrooms, like, you might have to cut into a chalkboard, you might have to do modifications. So if that's the case, that's what that money would go for. But that is what we were asking, and hopefully that works out at the next board meeting. If you have any questions, though, let me know.
Trustee Corcoran.
Yeah. Jim, the Corinthian boards that we have right now, are we going to give those back? Or let me ask this question first. Are they the same company that's producing the new ones that we have for the old ones? So are they asking for the old ones back?
No. And so some of the rooms don't have one at all, just because those rooms just never got one. So that'll be an empty room that we're going in. Other ones that have the old boards, it was like an LCD projector and an old whiteboard. Those will just get recycled. They just get removed. We can literally give them to a recycler, and then we put the new boards in on top of them, or on top of that area.
This might not be a question you can ask, but maybe Ms. Baptiste asked. But when we had the training, remember we had the one person come in, and it was that, I can't remember the program that all the teachers went in and we went into different groups or what have you. But there was one there that had the information on how to use the Corinthian board. I can't remember the name of the person, but the teachers thought that it would be feasible to have it longer because it was, the time was short and they were learning a lot about how to use it. But yeah, I was thinking about that when he was talking about replacing them. If we could have that class back, but
Webinars and trainings for
that was the one.
how to use, okay.
Yeah.
So what I will answer to that is, the last PD that we offered, we had, how am I forgetting Kelsey's last name?
Perkins.
Kelsey Perkins, who works through Oakland Schools, is affiliated with us, offered professional development along with someone from Oakland Schools just around this, like really cool, nifty ways that you can use different Promethean boards, smart boards. And August PD, we will have that going on for August PD and most likely the election day PD as well, because it was very popular with our staff.
Yeah, because they really enjoyed it. I got a lot of feedback when I was on there, that they just wish it was longer, but that's why I love that.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, the cool part with Promethean is they're really good about giving us trainer access. So like the one that Kelsey did, she was able to get one of their trainers out to show her how to do it, to show us how to do it, and then they're really willing to come out.
Great.
So, yeah.
Okay. And, Trustee Long.
Jim, will this fill up all the schools now?
No.
Once you get all that?
No,
How
so-
many more will we need after that?
Hopefully not a lot. So Nova, as a building right now, is most of the rooms are shut down. So we're not going to put new boards in there because we don't know where that program's going to go. So the active Nova classrooms, I want to say there's 3 of them on this list. We'll get new boards because they didn't have them. The rest of the building won't. The elementaries, for the most part, will be, at this point, topped off, OPA. I asked my team members, each technical assistant has like a building, so I asked them to go through the building and then on a list, give us all the rooms that didn't have Prometheans, and that's where we got the 36 from. So for the most part, the elementaries should now have one in each room, in each classroom. And then OPA should have one in each classroom as well. And then we threw in the media centers because they usually have events and they haven't had them, so it's kind of made their life challenging when they didn't have one. So the majority of active buildings and active rooms should then have them, but Nova won't. There might be one or two, like in OPA, that are, if they're a storage room right now, like 100% storage, we don't have them on the list just because there's literally, there's no way to get to stuff. But the majority should be covered by now.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Nye?
I didn't hear you say the high school.
High school only has, what are we building for the high school? High school is getting 10 more. That should cover, or wait a minute, no. The high school is getting 6 more. That should cover the majority of the building. It won't cover, there's like a robotics hallway down the middle. Right now, there's not much use in there, so we're not putting anything in there. It's more of a storage area, and the same thing, if there's true storage rooms, they're not slated to get them, but the majority of other rooms should at this point get them in the high school.
Anything? Yes, go ahead.
How did you pick which rooms are empty that we're gonna fill now, or like, what's the process behind deciding on this number 36?
I asked the techs in each building that we had to go room by room and give me a list of the rooms that didn't have a Promethean. And then I checked with the principals with the quantities and said, hey, this is the number that we're looking at. Does this number work with you? Is this correct? If there was a room that truly is, being used for storage, period, and that's all it's ever going to be used for, then it wouldn't have been on the list and we would have pulled it off. So that was kind of how we did it. The majority of these rooms that are getting it are actively being used now, and there's people in them.
What's the breakdown between the ESSER funds and the bond funds?
I don't have a breakdown yet on it. So in the bond, we have right now allocated money for this. But when we were looking over and we were doing the bills and I was meeting with Dan, we were looking at the ESSER funds, and we noticed that the previous ones did use ESSER for it instead of bond. So if ESSER becomes available, I think it's wave 2, then we'll use ESSER for it instead of bond. It's technically slated for bond right now, but if we can use the ESSER for it, that'll free up bond money for AC and other stuff.
Thank you.
I'll interview you real quick. It'll probably be all bond, based on our conversation we'll have.
Anything else for Mr. Nye? Hearing none. Okay, we will move now to item 8, Board Administration Communications, and congratulations, Jim. Okay. Are there any communications from members of the administration?
I'm talkative tonight. I just want to say thank you to my team, and that goes both ways. My cabinet team and my Office of Teaching and Learning team.
Thank you.
Okay. Any communication from members of the board?
I have a question to Dan, actually. Just, we've already approved the financial statement. I didn't see anything here that it's questionable or anything like that, but I just want to confirm at the bottom what we see is that we're operating a pretty serious deficit at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, we have been all year.
I didn't mean to lay blame or anything like that. I just want to, as we're trying to move the right direction.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in closed session, but yeah, it was projected at the beginning of the year that we were going to have a deficit.
Yeah.
And you'll find that the deficit isn't as great as what we were originally anticipating.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from members of the board? Trustee Corcoran.
I just wanted to give a shout out again to our girls track team. I just also want to remember, not forget the cheerleading team. I was called out that I forgot about them, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned them. But I do want to see, if nothing other, for them girls to come into this boardroom, introduce themselves, and so we can meet them face to face. Not sure what the principal has in store for those girls, because that's 8th. That's not 1st, that's 8th. And then 8th, there should be some, of course, I'm looking further that the city should just have them ride through the city, and, that's just what I see, but I would love to see them, excuse me?
8th what? I didn't.
Oh, it was their 8th championship.
Regional championship?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you know.
She said, it. I thought she said 7, so I couldn't.
Oh, no,
be
she
wrong.
said 8.
Okay, I wasn't writing, it's all good.
She said 8.
Okay,
So I just wanted to just say that.
okay. I know you, well, the season isn't over with, right?
No,
So,
I understand, but they already won. I mean, I'm just, you know, they're still winning, but I just would love to meet them and just, you know, just to let them know that the board is rah-rah and cheering them on.
thank you, trustee Corcoran. Anything else, or you're good?
I'm good.
All right, anything else from other members of the board? I just got one thing. The Juneteenth essay writing contest is still going. Tomorrow is the deadline to get the written submissions in. And again, high school students have the opportunity to win a prize of $1,000. Middle school students can win $500. And the topic is it's important to encourage diversity and inclusion around the world and within our communities because submissions can be sent to Courtney Flynn at cflynn@oakparkmi.gov. Please, hopefully we have some students that are entering this contest at the high school, middle school, and also at the elementary school level. Elementary school students can win a Chromebook. So hopefully we have students who are entering this contest with a deadline of submission of tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I forgot one more, which is the young, gifted, and college-bound, more than $15,000 in scholarships will be awarded. Students that register and include an university admissions letter will be entered to win a $500 scholarship. They can register at the aretha.com. That's at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, which is right there at Atwater. The doors open at 5:30, and that's Wednesday, May the 25th. So they would have food vendors on site, and if your student, if your student or your child have those admissions letters, you could be entered for that scholarship.
Now, how you know I wasn't gonna say that?
I didn't know. Me too.
So the school,
Oh, by the way, that is in part sponsored by the Wright Productions and a fine alpha man and his family. So,
That's all right.
so I will go on to see if there are any other communications from members of the board. Hearing none, we have item 9 now, call for closed session. Is there a motion for the call for closed session?
Actually,
Is there a motion on postponement?
So moved.
We need the actual
Mr.
motion.
President, I move that the Oak Park Board of Education enter into closed session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining strategy and negotiation pursuant to Section 8C of the Open Meetings Act.
The motion been made by Hoyt, is it seconded by Klein? Any question on that motion? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Klein,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Lunkins,
Yes.
Elvin,
Yes.
Hoda,
Yes.
and Corcoran.
yes.
Okay. Item 10, we will go into closed session for OPEA negotiations.